Hi, Salam Alaikum. Suleiman Rahim here. Welcome. Let's slay some demons. Let's move a little bit over here. Sisters and brothers, this is actually, I'm covering two, so to speak, two birds with one stone, because this is angel class, part 4. But it's also, it's, it's part 4 about chapter 20 in the angel, chapter 20. But also, it covers the Breaking the Dumb Barrier series, because I was going to talk about Gog and Magog, but both are the same subject, so I'm just going to let this cover both. So I'm going to present it as both, as Angel Class 4, and also as Breaking the Dumb Barrier, Gog and Magog. Who is Gog and Magog? That's a big mystery, because Gog and Magog has been called all kinds of things. The Sunnis, they have a misunderstanding of Gog and Magog. The Christians wouldn't dare call American Britain Gog and Magog. I mean, some think Gog and Magog is Russia, China, all kinds of things. Hold on for a second, brothers and sisters. So we're going to break down who's Gog and Magog, because Gog and Magog are mentioned. They're mentioned in chapter 20. They're mentioned there. See? They're mentioned in chapter 20. But chapter 20, when you, in regards to breaking the dumb barrier, chapter 20 is the so-called millennia that is supposed to happen, yet happen in the future. Because in chapter 20 it says that Gog and Magog would deceive the whole world. So if that's yet future, then we shouldn't have to worry about it, right? But it's a lie. And it's a big lie, because it said they would deceive the whole world. And that's what that's the deception. That chapter 20 is yet future, that the millennia is in the future. We're going to show millennia is past. Because if you knew the millennia past and you was conscientious about your life, your existence, your reality, and you claim to believe in the scripture, then you would, the first thing you want to do is you want to go in and find out, when was it? If it was in the past, and what was it? and the characteristics of it. And then your eyes will become open. See, because they don't want you to know that. They tell you, oh, Malaysia in the future. When we're going to talk about it, you're going to see as we talk about it, you'll see why they want you to know that, want you to think there's yet future. See, again, they're defining your reality. They give you a false vision. A false vision means you're blind. You're blind scripturally. That's what false vision is. You're blind scripturally because you have no idea. Remember, scripturally is about things yet to be. That's foresight. That's scripturally. Your eyesight tells you what's happening now. But most of us don't even understand that because we can't see what's in front of our face. But foresight or scripturally is about what yet to happen. That's what faith about things that has not yet happened, right? But we create those. We create future. Future is not created by scripture. Scripture just records what they saw happening in the future. That's a very important concept, brothers and sisters. You better get used to it because you've been told just the opposite. You've been told by Farrakhan, told by Sunnis, told by these preachers that it's God's will is always written, and bam, and all we do is we just dummies, puppets, right? Just following scripture. We have no control of anything. See, that's the whole idea of separating the creator from the creation back 35,000 years ago to make you think that you have no control. This is just there. It just happens. And we're just puppets. And we have no control of anything. See? In the meanwhile, somebody's controlling something because the future doesn't happen by accident. Because behind the scenes, you see, you got enemies. They're busy making the future. See, while you're sitting around thinking you have no control of the future and you just watch, you're a big spectator, watch NFL and NBA, you think you have no control and the future is going to happen by itself. That's what you're thinking. See? That's what you're thinking. So that means you're not thinking. And meanwhile, they're creating their future for themselves, which doesn't include you. While you're sitting around thinking that the future just unwinds because God's will or whatever, without any control by you. And you don't realize you are the makers of the future. You create the future. But they took that power from you while they're creating the future. And what they have you doing is helping them create their future. Because we've been here 40 years helping them create their future. If you create someone else's future, that means by definition, you are not creating your future. So that means you're going to be lost in their future. You're going to be a slave in their future because it's not your future. If you don't control your job, that means you working on someone else's job. That means they're controlling you. And what you're doing, you're making them rich, not yourself. So when they have us on their jobs on this plantation in America, we're building their future, a future that doesn't include us. You brothers and sisters, you don't understand that, and you won't understand it until it's too late for some of you. Elijah Muhammad set us on the path of creating our own future, and they shut that down as fast as they could when his absence. They said he had to be pulled out the way. Read the Son of Perdition. He had to be pulled out of the way because he was restraining the plotters, Farrakhan and Boston. He was restraining them because they was plotting, right, to knock him out, to take him out. Then once he was taken out of the way, right, then the falling away came first, then the man of sin, Farrakhan, was revealed. We're going to talk about that. See, we're going to get to that. But this whole thing is primarily about Gog and Magog in chapter 20. Because it says Gog and Magog is making your future. They went out over the whole earth and they're making your future. They're making their future, right? Which is your future, right? The future you're going to be in, but it's not a future for you. How was your future been the last 40 years? That's been their future. They created the last 40 years, not you. They created the last 40 years, not you. I say it again. They created the last 40 years. How did those 40 years come about? They came about by itself? Did we just pop up over here? Did you just on the plantation just working, just doing without any controls? Anybody telling you, dictating what you was doing? They was forcing, they was making their own future, and they're using us to do it. And it wasn't the future they was creating wasn't a future for us. You don't understand that. That's that thing. 35,000 years ago, they took out the mathematical standard. Separate the creator from the creation. So now you think you have no control of anything when you are the creator. And they've taken control, creating their own future. They're racing towards this mechanical, electronic future. They're racing towards it. And they're hoping they get to it before you wake up and put a stop to it, a screeching halt. Because they know if you wake up, there's nothing they can do to stop you from bringing all this to an end. They have to depend on you being asleep. And you're doing that to your children too. What are you doing to your children? When they start, they learn their first lessons. Remember, they learn what they learn is in the first few years of life. Their brain is the quickest. That's how they learn language and all that kind of stuff. The first couple of years in their life. Learn how to think. That's how they learn how to think. And you see, Jewish children, they teach them how to think from the womb. That's why they're the minority of people on the planet, but they're the most powerful people on the planet. Because they teach their children to think from the womb. But what are you telling your children to do? Black people, you telling your children, you better not think. You say, oh, no, you're not doing that? Okay, well, you tell them their reality, right, is Christianity. They got to believe in it. If they ask you any questions about, no, don't you dare not, you better ask no question about that, dummy. You better ask no question. You just better believe it. You better believe whatever Jesus said. Well, no, I don't hear it. Believe it. You got to have faith. See? Don't think. Don't you dare think. Don't you dare ask any questions. See? And what's the picture on the wall? It's a white man on the wall, right? Whatever he say, that's it, period. No question. Else your ass gonna burn, your dumb ass gonna burn in hell forever and ever and ever. You just taught that child when his brain is starting to form, right? Because the brain's all about thinking, you just shut it down. Don't think about reality. Don't do any thinking. Don't ask any questions. That's his first lesson you gave. And then you can understand when they start growing. They failed in school. They failed in life. They're out there gang banging. They're in prison or in the graveyard, making bad decisions because they're not really making decisions. Why? Because, hey, Jesus is going to take care of it. See, I don't have to think through this. See, because that's what you taught them. You taught them that. And you say, no, that's what you taught them. Because that's what your parents taught you. Because you do the same thing. See? Breaking that dumb barrier. You're the dumb barrier. You're the one make dumb in your children. Because they start asking you about, because you can't answer any questions. So they tell them, don't you dare. You just believe in it. So therefore they can't ask any questions. And you threaten them with eternal damnation if they do. They better believe in it. No facts, no proof whatsoever. See, you're your child's worst enemy. And you won't accept this. Why? Because logic doesn't matter to you. Oh man, he's talking against Jesus, see? But you won't ask your question, wait a minute, does this stuff make any sense? Is there really a Jesus? I mean, he blessed the people that believe in him, right? Well, how come all Hindus and Chinese and Buddhists and And Jews, Jews say Jews crucified. How come they're so blessed? You see? And they don't even believe in them. Some even killed them. But yet they say, who's blessing them? You don't ask those questions because you're afraid to answer. Because you're afraid, if you're afraid, you're going to hell, heaven, and heaven. They did that to you as a child. They paralyze your mind, stop your ability to think, made you fearful of thinking because you're not thinking. Oh yeah, you go out there and go to the store and count how much money, all that kind of stuff, and do your budget. You're not thinking because your reality is what you're supposed to be thinking about. And religion is your reality. That's religion. There's false. All these religions are false realities, but that's your reality because you believe in it. That's your reality. The real reality has nothing to do with that because all things around you is not. It's all based on mathematics. There's nothing around you that's powered by prayer. Give me a car that's powered by prayer. Give me a computer that's powered by prayer. Give me anything that's powered by prayer. That came into existence based on prayer, based on your belief in whatever thing you believe in. Nothing. Only thing that you see, everything around you came into existence because of mathematics. They took you away from that. And now they got your mind collapsed, and now you've paralyzed your children's mind. They comatose, right? When it comes to understanding, when thinking. And so they get in all kinds of trouble. And you can understand because you did it to them. You said you better not think. So let's move on, brothers and sisters. Gog and Magog, chapter 20. So this will be a little while here with this one, right? Because this is, I really kind of rehash an old previous presentation because it fits what I want to talk about. So right here, we see, let me move things around a little bit here. That's one little, oops, not that. We're told in Exodus, again, the deceit is they put the scripture out of context. So you think there's distorted something. No, they just put things out of context. Like they're saying, well, X happened in the past. Things that happened in the past, they say, is it going to happen in the future? And things happen in the future, they say happen in the past. They switch things around. See, they're telling you. The scriptures don't do that, right? Because the scriptures don't. But that's because you ain't paying attention and you just listen to what they tell you. The enemy, the one that's oppressing you, destroying you, raping you, murdering you for 40 years, you listen to their interpretation of it. Why would you think that God would give them the right revelation? Anyway, so, and this is just talking about Exodus. Exodus said, the covenant of Abraham said, for 400 years, your seed will be in a land that's not theirs. They're sojourn. That means they'll be temporarily there, right? And they'll be enslaved and afflicted. They served them. They didn't say enslavement. They served them, but they'll be afflicted also. So what we endured was far worse than slavery. Slavery is just an aspect of it. So that gives you 1619 to 2019. The 2020 will be a plague that will kill the firstborn, the elderly. We see it happen right before our eyes. I mean, I ran into this person. He claims that he's Moses. He looked like one of those move people. His hair's all braided. He never probably has a comb in his life, right? He walks around looking like he's homeless and everything. And he said, "Miss Moss, I brought this to attention." I said, "Oh man, well that happened in the past." I said, "Well, brother, you can't prove it happened in the past." I says, "Look, I mean, it's happening right in front of your face." "Oh yeah, well, time repeats itself. History repeats itself." Well, okay, if history repeats itself, then how far is it going to repeat itself? It's going to repeat itself exactly. It says, I mean, if it repeats itself, then that means, we just see the Abraham. How does that work, right? I said, where's your evidence that this happened? I don't need no evidence. See, no evidence, no thinking. Anybody tell you don't need any evidence? What are they telling you? They're telling you they're stupid, they're ignorant. How can you say I don't need any evidence. You need evidence for everything in your life. Everything in your life requires some degree of evidence, unless you're a fool. I mean, you do things without facts and evidence, and that it makes sense to do this. I mean, just because people say it. Anyway, so this is the purpose of this plague. So it says, during the time of this plague, we're going to be driven out of here. Oh, this plague ain't over. They telling you it's not over. And you get all these mixed signals. I mean, boy, there's so much going on behind this. I'm not even going to get to it. See? So then he was reminded about the covenant. And then it says, because Abraham prayed, this is, I want to draw back to the software. So we'll have to live with it. Well, I'll read it to you. Abraham said, our Lord, raise up them a messenger from among them who recite to them thy message, teach the book and wisdom, and purify them, show thou the mighty wise. And this corresponds to book of Malachi, where the messenger of the covenant. See, because he wants somebody to represent the covenant. And Elijah Muhammad was not the messenger of the covenant, because it says right in Malachi, it said the messenger of the covenant was suddenly come to Elijah's temple. So there's two messengers there. There's the messenger and there's the messenger of the covenant. The messenger of the covenant will suddenly come to Elijah's temple. And so he clean it up. So that's what it's talking about here. So it says he would give, what is the book? See? He's our message, the book, and the wisdom. See? Now Farrakhan claims that's talking about him. You don't know the book. What book you talking about? He's talking about the Bible, but the point is, he said the Bible is corrupt. It's not. The unsealed Bible, because it said Jesus and the Mahdi would come at the end, but Jesus was given the angel, and the angel was sealed to the end. So that means he revealed it. The angel, it says it itself. It was sealed and would not be revealed until the end. So we're at the end now, according to everyone that's supposed to have any knowledge of this. That means the book will be revealed now. They had the seal. Adam had the sealed book. That was his guidance, as it said in the Quran. But the unsealed book would be the book that Jesus or Suleiman revealed at the end, because he unsealed it, and that would bring the end of Yaqub's rule. See? And what's the wisdom? The wisdom is the nature of the universe, how it works, what drives it. Farrakhan doesn't know that. He has no idea. He has no idea. He's a demon. Plus, if he did, he showed me told me he's talking because everything he says contradicts the actual very nature of the universe. See? And then the 5 fundamental pillars of Islam, mathematical, he doesn't know that either. He made me know about 5 pillars. He doesn't know what's behind them, the science behind them. Elijah Muhammad said Islam was a science. Does Farrakhan know the science behind the 5 pillars? No, he has no idea. None of them had an idea to try to explain it to him. So let's move on. Oh, but let's talk about this right here, right quick. We're going to talk about this, elaborate a little further, right? But you got uranium over there on the left side, right? Right, the far left, on the bottom. You got hydrogen. Now, the fission bomb, they're usually made of plutonium or uranium because they're very unstable atoms because they're very big. I'm not going to the reason for that, but so in other words, if you hit them with neutrons, you knock neutrons out of it, and neutrons will hold it together. So that means they explode, right? So they explode, that's a fission bomb. To make uranium, that's why you need uranium, because it's easier, because the more unstable the atom is, easier it is to do that, to knock the neutrons out, because you have to bombard it with neutrons real hard. And then that hits so hard, it knocks neutrons in and out. That just pin together, hold together. But now a fusion bomb is just the opposite. See, the fission bomb is made of the most complex atom. The fusion bomb is made of the simplest atom, which is hydrogen. Hydrogen is the most simplest one, it's just a proton. Just a proton, one electron, period. Simplest. Has no neutrons. So a bomb like that is just the opposite, because instead of tearing it apart, tension, you apply pressure. Pressure is opposite of tension. So you push all of them together, which just take a lot of force to do that. But when you push them all together, remember, it takes neutrons to hold them. But once you push them together, there's neutrons to hold them. As soon as the force is pushing them together is been spent, then it's going to explode, because nothing holds together. So that's the nature of a thermonuclear bomb. The outside is a fission bomb. It explodes, and inside of it is hydrogen. Outside is made of uranium, inside is made of hydrogen gas. So when the fission bomb explodes, all that pressure forces the hydrogen atoms together. All of them together. And then the fission bomb, right, as explosive power is spent, then there's nothing to hold that hydrogen, that's fused together, nothing to hold together, no neutrons. Bam, so it explodes. So it's more powerful explosion than the fission bomb that triggered the explosion. So that idea is also the idea in the Bible and in Revelation, sealed and unsealed. Because the sealed version is like the fission bomb on the outside. See? And that was ignited, right? See? They had two phases of ignition. The first one was 2,000 years ago when Jesus ignited. He revealed the book to them because they're the people of the book. The book was given them, the sealed book. See, they exploded, but it had, like some stars, they explode and then they clap and explode again because it has two phases to it. See, because so much gravitational force, but it pulls back together, but then it explodes even larger. And then, so it's a two-phase explosion. So that's what would happen with the sealed Bible, because it exploded 2,000 years ago, right? That's phase one. Then it collapsed for 1,000 years, right? And exploded again with more intense explosion. Bam, 500 years ago. That's the fission. But now all that force is pushing all what's in the center under intense pressure, pushing all together, see? And that's the AL-INJIL, it's sealed. And so therefore, by super unlocking it, boom, you got a big explosion. So the first one, because remember, these explosions, this scriptural explosion, right, is changing the reality. It's changed people's minds. And when people's minds change, they change reality because we create reality. No one creates reality but us. It's not created by anybody else, no mystery or anything else. We create. So it changes people's minds because that's what happened 2,000 years ago. It changed the people's minds, and that explosion brought down the Roman Empire because Christianity changed people's minds. See, it was two phases. And then again, but then it collapsed because there was another explosion that took place. There was another collapse, and then, right, people's mind got changed again because they added mathematics to Christianity. That's why Master Muhammad said Christianity is 500 years old, because they changed it. They had mathematics to it, so it was more intense explosion. They had two phases of explosion. Exploded again. And that explosion is caused so much pressure that forced us into this situation we're in, right? And caused Suleiman to unlock those seals, which caused that inner explosion, that fusion explosion, which will blow it, because it's going to change people's mind again, so much so that we're going to create a new reality, make all things new, and destroy all this old reality that exists right now. So I just want to point that out. See, same idea. We're not talking about just flow, we're talking about mental, because thought is the most powerful force in the universe. You change it, you change the universe. You change the thought, you change the universe. Because the universe came out of thought. The universe came out of our minds. We gave form. We didn't create energy, but we gave form to it. That's our minds. The whole universe, galaxies, everything you see out there came from our minds. Even KV, that was because that Dr. Yakub was original. See, but he was angry. He did his thing, but it still came out original God's mind because he was a God. Okay, so this is, we started right here. Wait, excuse me, 1 second. Let me move this so you can see it clearly. This was the Roman Empire at the time when Prophet Jesus came and gave them the book. See, because that was the beginning of Adam. In the angel, it says, I mean, in the Quran, it says, I'll make a ruler in the earth. That was new, because, well, we're not going into all the details. And that's Adam. But he would be given guidance. He have a rulership of making mission-shaped blood, right? We would give him guidance. So it was guidance. The book was, if you're going to have it, make someone to make mission-shaped blood, you have to give them the guidance to do that, so it'd be effective doing it. So that's the sealed Bible, has all this stuff in it. Murder, rape, abuse of women, slavery, all that stuff is all in the sealed Bible. You find it in there. It said take babies' heads of the enemy and dash against the wall, knock their brains out. All that stuff is in there. That's a sealed Bible. That was given to them. The Bible tells you sealed. Why was it sealed? That means there's another message, right, under it that's sealed. That supersedes the message that you think you're seeing. See? So he unleashed it, right? And that brought down the Roman Empire. See? 2,000 years ago, when he revealed the book, start what you call Catholicism, right? Brought down the Roman Empire. See? Brought down the Roman Empire. And that went on for what? From 500 years? 500 years. Christianity reigned, what they call Christianity, but it was really Catholicism, which y'all think is the same. It's not quite the same, right? Christianity came out of it. For 500 years, they reigned. So he ignited and knocked out that reality. The reality before that was the Roman Empire. There was other empires too, but the Roman Empire was the predominant empire over here in that section of the world. And he blew it away. Prophet Jesus blew it away by revealing the Bible, the sealed book, blew away the Roman Empire. And then so you have this crusade, you have this, but not the Crusades, because Crusades came, right, 500 years later. But for 500 years, they ruled. Okay? So at the end of 500 years, we had something interjected in there because it's called the cries of mercy. That was something was unexpected. See, because we're told by Elijah Muhammad, we had to slow them down. Because originally when Dr. Yakub made them, right, 6,000 years ago, they was immediately pushed back up in Europe for 2,000 years, lost 2,000 years of history. See? Because we knew the threat. If we allowed them the full range for the whole 6,000 years, they would have outpaced us. They would have brought in their mechanical, electronic reality, and would have been all done. Because it says those days had to be short, and that's a hint there, because no soul would be left alive. No, they could bring the world that none of us would be left alive. So we had to shorten their time. We had to restrain them. So they were restrained. It says in the Quran, right? It talks about the Quran, right? He put them on the other side of the mountains. They put a brass and iron, right? Because they keep them locked up to my Gog and Magog. They talk about it too. They'd be sealed up because they realized the threat. We couldn't let them have the whole 6,000 years. So they locked up for 2,000 years. So altogether, they lost 3,000 years of their time because this was another. That's why I call it Quran of Mercy, because the Quran was explosion too. See, because remember, it changed. It's called atom bombs, ATTOM, because they change reality. They change people's minds. When people's minds change, right? That's why they only send a book. Why does Allah send an army or something? He only send a man with a book because he knows that book changed people's minds. And that's how reality gets changed. It doesn't get changed by itself. It gets changed by people's minds. People's minds change. They change reality. We create reality. We time travelers. They sent the book, boom, and that changed people's minds, right? And that was able to knock Dr. Yakub's creation down another 1,000 years. This is where chapter 20 comes in at. See, because it said this angel came, right? And he had a great chain, and he locked up. He took the serpent, right, and the serpent and the false prophet. In other words, he took them, right, the devil and Satan. He took them and locked them up. The devil and Satan took them and locked them up in an abyss, right, for 1,000 years. Some say abyss, some say bottomless pit. Tell about Europe. They locked them up in Europe for 1,000 years. See, and they'll be locked up for 1,000 years. That's what happened. The Islamic Empire locked. That's what it's talking about. Islamic Empire took, and that was the chain that locked them up. So then that gives you the identity who Satan and the devil is. That's why they tell you in the future. Because if you know it's in the past, you know who this devil and Satan is. That's why I said they see the whole world. They tell, oh, that's in the future. But if you know that's in the past, if you take, and you agree with me that that was in the past, right now, case closed. Because now you know who the devil and Satan is. I just restored your mind. I just restored your mind. Right there. Because you didn't know that. If you accept the fact that chapter 20 has already happened in the past. See, because this also goes back to Adam. Because remember, Adam was put in a deep sleep. Then Eve came out of the side. Well, that's 1,000 years. See, Adam came and was made because that prophet Isa, he's the one that brought Adam, right? He raised Adam up. But then Adam went to sleep for 1,000 years. And what happened when Adam came? When Adam came awake again 1,000 years later? Eve came out of the side. What happened after 500 years? After the 1,000 years of Islamic rule, right? That means Great Britain rose up, right? Because Gog and Magog would go out, but Adam rose up, right? And who came out of the side? America. They came out of Britain. America's Eve. That's the same story again. Came out of Britain. 1,000. That's the same story. So anyway, so we have the 1,000. Adam, prophet Esau, Jesus, right? Builds a sealed book. For 500 years, they reign. That's Adam, right? That's Magog. Magog means the mother of God. They reigned 500 years. And then the Quran was revealed, changed people's minds, have an explosion, changed reality, and that's locked them up for 1,000 years in the pit. See? So now who say, because those people that call themselves Jews, they was locked up there too in Europe. That's where they came out of Europe. It says Satan and the devil in the pit for 1,000 years. See, well, first of all, they say that they talk both eyes and mouth. They say, because when Jesus comes, they're going to be with you forever. So if that's the case, then how do you reconcile square chapter 20 when it says, oh, he come, but then he leaves for 1,000 years and then come back? I mean, it can't be both ways. So, anyway, so that's what happened. Islamic Empire burst on the scene, the Quran. He came with the Quran. But Muhammad didn't do it, the Quran did it. Like Jesus didn't do it, the Bible did. He was going, but that's the sealed Bible is what gave that revolution, that change in reality, and that blew away the Roman Empire, and then established so-called Christian or a Catholic empire under the Pope. See, and then after 5 years, then Prophet Muhammad, that's talking about chapter 20, he came and he locked him up for 1,000 years. He put him down for 1,000 years because the Quran changed reality, changed the minds of people. They brought a new reality. And it's a shame because you see as Sunnis now, the math does not, no logic, math, but trigonometry and algebra came out of them. Those are two powerful mathematical concepts that came out of the rise of Islamic Empire. It was Sunnis that did that. Anyway, because algebra is like a Arabic word. The numbers you have, those of you that's old enough know that when you was going to school, they call the numbers Arabic numerals. They don't call them that anymore because they got the number system from Arabs. They call the numbers Arabic numerals. Google it. Why don't call it that anymore? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Abakada. See, that was the Arabic letter. That's where they got it from. But now they hide that. See. So anyway, this is the 1,000 years. They was in the pit. That's what it says in chapter 20. It says they would reign with their Christ or their Messiah. See, Christ just means Messiah, but you get the bad translations and you understand. So they would rule with them. That means that he was going to live that time and live under the ideology of Prophet Muhammad with his hadith and everything, right? Anyway, so for 1,000 years they ruled. They also raised us up. That's how we became Muslims in Africa, in Northwest Africa. That's where we was mostly at. The tribe of Shabazz was mostly in Northwest Africa. In interior Africa was the tribe of Levites. That's the tribe Dr. Yaqub came out of. See, they're both original, but it's two different tribes. Elijah is a Levite. Those following him said be a Levites. Got two groups there. See, the Levites were grafted into the tribe of Israel. Anyway, so that's the 1,000 years. Okay. Chapter 20. But it says after 1,000 years was over, right? See? As 1,000 years ago was over, then they would be released from their release. Let me get this over here. Make sure you can see everything. They would be released out of the abyss, right? That's Adam. See, they came out and they adopted, they took Christianity, they took the Catholicism and mixed it with mathematics, so-called Renaissance. And they burst out the world with that. That was Adam. See, now he's awake. Now his deep sleep, his 1,000 year sleep. See, and what happens, right? He goes out and Gog, America, Eve comes outside. He established America as a colony. Eve came, and then what happened? Then it says the connection between the two, the biblical cord, whatever was cut. That means the revolution. Because then they became, because both they was tied together. I said in the book, the connection had to be cut. That means now America became independent, but it was still the wife of Gog. It's the wife of Magog. Gog and Magog. See? One second, brothers and sisters. Little technical situation I got to take care of. Okay, so after 1,000 years, that's Magog. Remember, Adam was made from the dust of the earth. The earth and angel represents European countries, but Britain is not Europe. It's the British Isles. It's isles off the coast of Europe. But the people out of Europe, people from the British, came from Europe. The people that was banished from Europe, exiles, um, uh, um, immigrants, criminals. See, that's who they were. That's why it says they came from the dust of the earth. That's the British. Their language is all a bastard language. It's not a European language. See, it has aspects of French, German, everything in Russian, everything in it. Now it's got African, everything in it. See, so that's what Adam. See, they was put into deep sleep 1,000 years, and then evil come outside. That's America, came out of Britain, right? And then they had a Revolutionary War where the connection was severed. But that would be Magog. America would be Gog. See, and they came out, they burst out, because remember in chapter 20 it says they wouldn't cover the whole earth. They didn't know about the whole earth before that. They didn't know about it. They was locked in the pit, then they came out and covered the whole world, right? And then deceived the whole world in the process. That's one of the ways they deceive the whole world, by saying, oh no, because that story is obvious. Anybody know history know that's the story that really, that's actual history. They know, but they can't tell you that, because then it wake you up right away. Because then you know who Adam is. Even the Sunnis would know who Adam is then. You know who Adam is, you know who Eve is, you know who Satan and the devil is, right? You know the correct religion is Islam, even though the Sunnis all screwed it up, right? You know that. See, you know Christianity, a false religion, that's the religion they had when they was in the pit, in the abyss, bottom spin, whatever you want to call it. Religion of Satan. But see, that's why it says you gotta break the dumb barrier, because they got you in the dumb barrier. See, in other words, like, you gotta break the sound barrier. Supersonics, I would say, you break the sound barrier, you gotta break the dumb barrier, because right now you're going subsonic speed. You haven't broke the dumb barrier, so you're still on the dumb side of things. And this is one of the reasons, because you're confused about this. Now go study history. Don't take my word for it, and see it doesn't this map exact history. Then say, well, is that a coincidence? History repeating itself? See if this doesn't correspond to actually the way history went. See if it doesn't correspond. There was a Dark Ages, medieval. That was only European countries. No other country went through that but them. And then when they came out, they wouldn't cover the whole world. That's what chapter 20 tells you. And then you had Gog and Magog, Eve come out. That's exactly what happened. Exactly what chapter 20 is telling you. That's exactly what Genesis tells about Adam and Eve. Okay, so here it is right here. So they come out, they mix mathematics with it. See? Because they well on their way now. They've already been knocked lower 3,000 years. They don't plan on losing any more time. Now they got hold of mathematics. And now they fast moving towards, right, to bring in their mechanical electronic reality. That cyborg. See, the computers, robots, all that kind of stuff. See, in the process destroying our biological reality. They tell you they're destroying this reality. They tell you they're doing it. They say, man, we're destroying this reality. We're destroying the ecological system, right? We're destroying nature. We're destroying the weather. We're destroying, what they call it, a global warming. And they say, well, they're not doing anything about it, though, right? Because it's obvious they're doing it. So why are they doing anything about it? If your house is on fire, you just sit there. You're gonna put it to a vote. See, that's how they buy time. Oh, we're voting on it. Well, people oppose. Oh, so if somebody in your house, you got to vote, and your family says, well, I don't think we should leave out here and start a fire. You gonna listen to that crap? You gonna get the hell out of there and drag them out, crying and screaming if you can. Either way, you get your ass out of there. We will vote. They telling you, They're destroying. Why? They're intentionally doing it. And now they develop atomic bombs to make sure to finish the job. Because that new reality they come to, they don't need all this biology. This biology is killing them right now. All the diseases and all this stuff, that's stuff they created. That's our reality. We're fighting back against them. Or these diseases wasn't existing before them. That's diseases it's our reality, biological world, fighting back against them because they're corrupting it. So they need to destroy it. Especially after this COVID hit, man, you say, see, all this stuff that's going on, they see, and cancer and everything, it's killing them. Because it's a consequence of their actions. That stuff did not exist before them. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. So it's going to be a little lengthy because I'm combining two subjects, chapter 20 plus breaking the gun barrier. See, bam, they're moving fast towards their vision. See, their analytical vision. See, their mechanical, electronic vision. Move fast towards it. Yeah. See, they're moving quick. See? And they're getting you to help them. That's probably over here. Because we work in jobs and stuff. Who you think, whose realities we helping to bring in? We work on these jobs. And I'm not telling you to stop working. I'm telling you, you should be helping Elijah Muhammad like you're supposed to be, helping get the hell out of here. But while you're here, you have to eat. By else you're going to 40-year fast. We're told to submit to them. So we help build this career. We did a lot. I mean, really, this vision they have, we did a lot to bring this vision. Because if it wasn't for us, they couldn't have got here. Because look, all these other European countries don't have us there. If they're so superior, they see that those countries, right? See? So if those countries themselves should be far advanced, because they have us there. But since America's far advanced, why? Because we're here. Moving to the next one. One second, take a short break here, brothers and sisters. Okay, it's raining. I don't know if you hear that, so I don't think it's disrupting the sound. Raining pretty hard. Anyway, see, that's not, I've talked about that, not going in detail here. But they need us. They could not have brought in, got as far as they got. We weren't here because they need our creativity. Okay. Anyway, so they move fast, trying to bring in their analytical vision, the mechanical electronic reality before we wake up and realize what's going on and bring a screeching halt to it. See, this is what the race is. It's a race war. See, not a race, ethnic race, but it's that war too, actually, right? But it's racing. See, whose vision will prevail? This is our vision. This is the biblical vision. This is the Quranic vision. Their vision is not in the scripture. There's nothing in scripture. Their vision in scripture talking about that, said all that stuff we burned down. All of it. All these works we burned up. Our vision in the Quran and the Bible is that vision, the biological vision. Land of milk and honey, where rivers, a land where rivers flow, right? A garden as wide as the heavens and the earth. Right? Manicured lawns and things. See? Children playing with serpents and things like that. That's the true vision. That's the vision they don't want you to have. See? That's the vision Farrakhan taking you away from, because he wants you to have this vision of America, building high rises and all that kind of stuff. And they telling you what their vision is. Look at the movies. Terminator. What this latest one? This brother I can't think of it is outside the whatever, right? Well, he turned out that he's actually a robot. All these movies, that's their vision. They bring the analytical vision, bringing a mechanical, right, electronic world where they don't need this biological world anymore. Because this world is killing them. And both cannot exist. And we're authors of this world, our biological world, because we're spatial. That's the kind of world, that's our vision, make all things new. They know they cannot survive this world because the world's always going against them. The nature is going against them. All these diseases and everything is going against them, it's destroying them. They're in full time coming all kind of, you've watched the new TV lately? Every 5 seconds, I got PCA, I got NGY, I got ABC, I got FYG. I mean, you can't get enough letters and stuff. I said, is anybody in America healthy? I just got my CPOD. I got FYZ, right? See? All this stuff, right? I mean, they got stuff, they got some everything, right? I mean, I can't keep it all these different names. You see? So they race it. I mean, every time I look around, they got a new disease. I didn't know there were so many diseases out there. Cancer, Alzheimer's, right? See? What's this one they got where you can't control yourself? You know, then they got autism, and you name it. CPOD and whatever, right? That military, well, you know, all this stuff. And every day they got some new disease or something. Because nature's going against them. Never heard of this stuff before. You never heard of this stuff. But every time you say, what's all this stuff? Diabetes. You name it. See? That's why I take all these medications, they ODing on opioids and everything. They take all that stuff trying to do all the mental stuff. So this our reality is killing them. And this COVID, that was a big wake-up call. Especially the timing and everything. 1619, 2019. Why they call it COVID-19? Think about that one. 2020 would actually be the plague that would kill the firstborn. That means the elderly. They never seen a plague like that. They tell you, never seen a plague that came with this focus mostly on the elderly. That's what the scriptures tell you. So we got the race between two reality vision. And they got you locked in the other vision. They got you believing. That's what Farrakhan is telling you to accept the other vision. He wants to bring him to NOI, right? He wants to help America. He wants to save America. See, that's not what the lessons told you. That's not the lesson. That's not what Elijah Muhammad told you. Elijah Muhammad said, we'll be fools to want to stay here in the land of our imprisonment. Farrakhan said, no, you need to stay here. He's staying here. We're going to stay here. We ain't going nowhere, according to him. But he's not going nowhere. He's not lying about that. He ain't going nowhere. But we don't want him. There's two divisions, brothers and sisters. See, this is chapter 20. But see, what happened in chapter 20, you go further, it says they will cover the whole world and deceive the whole world. That's Gog and Magog. That's what happened. You have two world powers. You only had two world powers in the last 6,000 years that you know about. Two world powers. Only two. Now tell me what two world powers. Was China world power? No. Was Roman world power? No. It was a power for that region. But who was the only two world powers that's been in the that you know of in the last 2,000 years? Just take 2,000 years. That you know at any time, actually, that you can prove. Only Britain and America. Britain was a world power because it says the sun never sets And sun never sun, the British Empire. They was the first world empire. That tells you in the book of Daniel about the ram that had two horns. The first horn was power, the second one was great, even greater. Then American Empire. There's only been two world empires. That's what tells you in Daniel. That'll tell you in a book of Revelation, the AL-INJIL chapter 20. Gog and Magog will cover the whole world. There'll be twin world powers. You can't miss that history, brother, so you can't miss it. I'm making history so clear. Go and check everything I say, exactly how it happened. They break out and there'll be two world, so there'll only be two. So what are the two world empires talking about? So you're talking about that's in the future now? Keep playing with that future. Because remember, you better start creating your own future. Because if you keep letting them create your future, that future, they create hell for you. That's one thing Lion Farrakhan said, white man's heaven is a black man's hell. If they create their future, it's hell for you. Their future is hell for you. And our future is hell for them. They know that. See? So it says, then at the end, they will go and encircle the holy city. In other words, the people that, remember, because who's locked them up? The Sunnis did. The Sunnis locked them up, right, in Europe for 1,000 years. So-called crusades and everything. But it says they would go and encircle them at the end, right, and bring fire to heaven upon their heads. Isn't that what happening right now? They got those drones over there flying. They dark the whole sky over in the Middle East is dark with drones, hellfire missiles down on the people. 24/7. You see in the movies and everything, but you don't know what's happening every day. 24/7. That's exactly what said would happen. They bring fire to heaven down on those people, the people that imprisoned to begin with, and then they will be destroyed. Then Gog and Magog will be destroyed. That's happening right now. That's history. That's chapter 20, brothers and sisters. Take my word for it. A light read would prove everything I said. I haven't made up anything. See, and if you understand that, I don't have to talk to you anymore, because that should clear up everything. That could get your mind straight and get you on the right path and get you on this message. Because we're going home. That's what this message is all about. Ain't taking any, it's a free gift. Nobody's asking me anything. We ain't pimping anybody. We ask you for a dime. You couldn't send me a dime if you want to, because you don't know how to. Because I don't give you the information, allow you to. Because I don't want your money. If I'm a God, why do I need your money? If Farrakhan's a God, why he needs your money? The Quran said Allah is self-sufficient to give him anything. We're God's brothers and sisters. Elijah Muhammad wasn't a God. He was told to take your money from you to get that program going, right? Prepare the way, right? Before who? Suleiman said, prepare the way before me. So he was told to do that. But Farad didn't ask you for a dime. He didn't stay here and let you live off of you. He could have. He has 6,000 followers he left Elijah Muhammad with. He's a God. He don't need you. He only take your money. He came to help you because he loved you. You his people. You his God. But Farrakhan living off you. He's annoyed and everything else. Why are you living off you if he's a God? Why you need? I'm not living off you. I'm not asking for a pen. You can't give me a pen if you want to. If I'm a God, why do I need to live off of you? That sounds like a parasite to me, the pimp, which is what he is. Okay, so here we go again. See, this is the bomb. This is the way it was constructed. This is the way scientists constructed. See, Prophet Jesus, right? He exploded the first one when he came and gave a sealed book to them, to the people of the book, right? It would ignite. He put so much pressure on that region over there, that was enough to ignite the Quranic bomb, Quran atomic bomb. Remember, one bomb ignites the 100. It ignited. So it took 500 years. That explosion took 500 years, right? The one Prophet Jesus ignited. Then boom, of course, the Quran exploded. Took that much pressure, right, to produce Prophet Muhammad, which would ignite the Quran. That explosion lasted 1,000 years. Put so much pressure on Europe, right? That was enough to ignite mathematical Christianity. See? Enough to ignite them. And that explosion, right? It's been going on for 500 years until 1990, when it was enough pressure, right, to produce Suleiman to ignite the angel. And now that's exploding. And it's going to blow away all those other realities. Just like Prophet Jesus, right? He blew away the previous reality, the Roman Empire. Then what happened? Prophet Muhammad, he blew away the Catholic Empire. Blew it away. See? Didn't destroy it, but it blew it away. He pushed so much pressure on it, right? And locked it up in Europe. Couldn't get out. Couldn't get out for 1,000 years. They kept fighting, trying to get out. They couldn't get out. It took them 1,000 years to get enough pressure to explode that mathematical Christianity where they was able to blow their way out, cover the whole world for 500 years. They ignited that explosion, which pushed us. The explosion pushed us in the center. We would do all that pressure for 1,000 years. It's like the Europeans, they induced all that pressure they was under in Europe for 1,000 years. See, the Islam put on them, locked them up. Then they locked us up for 1,000 years, 500 years, on intense pressure over here, right in the center of it, right in the center of European ideology, European racism, European, the whole thing. And that pressure so great that it produced Suleiman, and that gave him the power, right, to produce Suleiman, who could explode that angel bomb, right? Bam! That's going to blow away all those realities. It's blowing away all, get rid of all of, obliterate them. Be nothing left to them. That's that. I'm not just saying that, bro. That's exactly the structure. That's the way it works. I'm just telling you, it's science, brothers and sisters. See, they got science. We got greater science. Our science is much superior to theirs. See? So we're going to go through this quickly. But again, here's Adam. See, we're going to apply it to the angel key. Remember, it's all about chapter 20. See? All about chapter 20. But it's also about the dumb barrier, about how they deceived us, the timeline. Because the timeline is all distorted. And that's once you get timeline straight, that's what Farrakhan destroying the timeline. Because he's Aaron. If you follow Exodus, he's toast. He's toast. Because you got God, fraud, then you got Elijah, right? And then you got lying Aaron, right? Who deceived the people, had walking around in the desert, for walking around in the wilderness for 42 years, deceiving them, living off of them, having worshiping golden calf, Sunnism. And then you have Joshua come. See? Joshua is just another name for Jesus. So here he is. Here's Adam. This is the point where, this is the point where Adam is in the dark ages. See? This is where Prophet Muhammad raises up, right? Because he didn't just raise up the Arabs. See, Ahmad did, that's Prophet Muhammad. He raised up Sunnis, also raised us up. That's angel language. And Adam, right? So he's in the dark ages. This period of time. Him and Satan, all of them, they're all locked up in there. Coming out of the dust of the earth. Earth represents, see, that's the abyss down there. That's that earth represents European countries. Okay? So here's this doing 500 AD to 1500 AD. That's at 500 years after Prophet Muhammad, Prophet Jesus, 500 years after him, right? Came Prophet Muhammad from 500 AD. See, because Jesus was 2000 AD, so 500 AD to 1500 AD, 1,000 years. 1500 AD. Medieval period. Then, right, 1500 AD to 2000 AD, right? 500 years. Eve comes out of Adam's side. See? That's when they break out of the abyss. The devil and Satan breaks out of the abyss, right? And that's Adam wakes up from his deep sleep, that 1,000 years. Eve comes out of the side. That's, and they brought us over here. See? In Eden. They brought us over here. See? That's what I'm talking about. Transplant that tree of life. There's also a tree of good and knowledge of good, knowledge of evil. There was in part, there was tree to eat of. All this, it's all the one tree, brothers and sisters. There's no tree that produces two types of fruit. So when they talk about all different tattoos, it's, you know, it's not just one tree. It's many trees, but they're all together. It's like an orchard, right? Okay. So bring Moshe had one part of it was a tree of knowledge of good, one tree of knowledge of evil, one was a tree of life, one was a tree that they could eat whatever they want of. See? So that would be 1619 to 2019. See? So that would be and then around that time that will Mesophotami will show up. See? 1619 to 2019, but in the middle, before 2019, he would show up, right? And he would raise Elijah. He would introduce mathematical Islam, not Sunni Islam. See? 1933. Okay. So from 1933 to 1975, in between that time after he raised up, you see Elijah, he raised up Elijah, and Elijah's teaching to the demon and then a why. There's a chaff in the wheat. So somebody sowed their seed among the wheat, right? That was the chaff. As the enemy had done it. What does that mean? A demon is one who is master's seed. See, they're like I say, white on the inside and black on the outside, he's called Orioles. That's a demon. See, his black-faced demons, black-faced children, those are demons. So that's what they sell his seed. So he said he would be teaching to both of them. Because he said, don't separate them, because you might hurt the wheat. Teach them both together. Let them grow together. That's what Elijah Muhammad did. You see? But and after that, right? So I'm not putting this, I'm not going into excruciating detail here, because in 1948, right? You saw Satan comes along. See, that's in between 1933. So I'm talking about the period between 1933 and 1975. See, but Satan didn't exist as far as Israel. They came on scene in 1948. They come on scene in 1948, right? As a result of Elijah Muhammad teaching that we the true seed of Abraham, so they have a counter narrative. So they had to put people they were just burning up a few days ago. Now, so they love them. They asked us to become honey pots, and we everything honey. So you think about that one. So he had to set them up as a counter narrative. See, but they also call the Antichrist. Now, why Antichrist? That gets to the mathematics of it, because the anti is like negative opposite. Because when they came into existence, at the same time, Suleiman would come into existence. Because it says when he was conceived, a star rose in the east. So if the star rose in the east, that means he had to be in the west. They're telling you he was over there, but the star rose in the east, that means he had to be in the west. They would see at the same time. So Suleiman, right, will be conceived in 1948 also. Both of them, that's why I call Antichrist. It's the balance, see? Because for every action, there's opposite reaction. So he's the anti. He would balances. Everybody has an anti. I'm not going to all the mathematics. Everybody, in this time of time, energy deprivation, we all have an anti to balance everything out. The anti tells you how powerful you are. So Suleiman, his anti, was the whole so-called nation of false Israel. That's his anti. That's why I call him Antichrist. You see? That's no coincidence. Check Suleiman's birth record. Check when he was conceived. His birthday is January 21, 1949. That's Suleiman's birthday. That means he conceived, right? approximately 9 months earlier. That'd be between March and April of 1948. That's exactly when false Israel came online. Exactly. Go check it out. Don't make stuff up like that. So that's another thing. So I'm trying to bring stuff out to you, brothers and sisters. Because it tells you when you'll be born, where you'll be born, right? It also tell you, his anti also tells you, right? He'll break the seals, right? So he will suddenly come in Elijah's temple. He'll be a follower of Elijah. Gives you all these different things, brothers and sisters. See? And Farrakhan doesn't fit any of that. None. That he's trying to distort the Abrahamic covenant. Trying to say, well, it started in 1555. Elijah Muhammad's servitude didn't start in 1555. It started in 1619. But he tries to say, well, it started in 55. But that's the time I first came to Elijah Muhammad's temple. He is a big liar. Elijah Muhammad called him a hypocrite, said he would be a hypocrite, told him to his face. So anyway, this is between 1933 and 1975 when he departs. So we bring this to a close pretty soon. I know it's been a while, brothers and sisters. I said I'm combining two different topics together because it didn't make sense to just separate them because I've been talking about the same thing again. So here's when. I'm a young God. See, I didn't go into all the detail here. Some of you follow Angel knows what I'm talking about. Let's see here. Elijah departs, right? When he departs, Nation of Islam is beheaded, right? He has no leadership because Farrakhan and Wallace got rid of the Nation of Islam. They didn't exist anymore. They started a thing called Rebellions. So it fell away. That's why the great falling away refers. Farrakhan tried to change the right. He says, well, since I'm revealing who the Satan is, now it's the falling away. Does that make any sense? See, he said, because he's revealing who they are, now they're falling away. But that's not what the scriptures say. It said, be not deceived and make it a point, underline, underscore it. The falling away will come first, and then the man of sin will be revealed. So he switched around because he's a liar. So the falling away was falling away to the Nation of Islam. And then he was revealed, the man of sin, who declared himself above all God, all is called God. We'll talk about that in a minute. Here's the falling away. That's chapter 12. The woman falling into the wilderness, flying figs in the wilderness. I'm a young God. That's what it said. Right? So he'd be sitting in Elijah's temple. Remember, that was Elijah's seat. And declare himself above all gods. All is called God. That's what's said about certain perdition. Who's called God here? Farah is called God. Satan is called God. He's the sin of Satan. Elijah declaring himself above all gods. That's right there, brothers and sisters. Wake up. Because you don't want the light's about to come on, brothers and sisters. You don't want to be caught sleeping when this light come on. You best read that Bible. Million watts. Like, a stadium when at night, they light up, look like day, brighter than day. That's about to happen in America. This angel's about to light this place up. It says angel or the gospel, angel mean gospel, be preaching all the world, then it will come as a witness. That means America's about to be lit up. And then Obama. Now I'm going to go a lot of detail. I talk about that whole thing about Obama, right? But it says, right? It says there was one sitting on a white horse, right? There's the white horse, because in that position you're a horse, right? So you see Farrakhan is a horse, and in Balaam they call him the ass, right? And he said he had a crown and a bow. See, that's the crown and the bow. Right? He went forth conquering and conquer. That means during time he would be reigned for a period of time. That's what Obama is talking about, riding on that white horse. The one chapter 19 is also riding on white horse. That's Farad. And Farad was in that position too. See? So let's go back and make sure you get that now, so we don't get confused here. Before that, we don't see it here because, okay, we'll leave it alone. I'm showing all the steps in between. Like I said, I'm not going into excruciating detail. I'm just, I'm not distorting anything. I'm just leaving steps out because that's not the purpose. It's going step by step. So that's Obama come on the scene. He'd be African. He's also, Obama's all over the place, but he's the one he talked about before conquering the conquered. So his first conquest would be President of the United States. His next conquest would be the leader of non-Islamic Africa. What's about to happen when the four winds blow, when war starts. If you've been studying, if you've been really paying attention to African politics, you see it's coming in place already. Yeah. And this will be Suleiman, right? The son, during that period of time, he will come to the NOI. They reject him. They reject him. See? You see Gog and Magog and Satan here? They're right now in charge of the Middle East, right? Because down here is called Europe. And this is mid-heaven, they tell in chapter 19. But now, Satan, Gog and Magog, they had ascended into heaven. Now it said they would encompass the people, right, that imprisoned them in dark ages. And that's what it says in chapter 20. So now they in 1990, they invade the Middle East, and now they have control of the Middle East. And then this is JCPOA, was during this period of time, right, from 2015, 2018, right? They would be, she's right here. Now they're under the foot of the nations, like it says in chapter 11. They're under the foot of the nations, right? What represents the nation? UN, right? So they're under the foot of the nations. And then for that period of time, 3.5 years, and then Trump would end an agreement in late 2018. He would end an agreement. And then the war would start. See, the pressure, because now Iran and America's in conflict. America falls to Israel. Britain in conflict more than ever been since 70-some years they've been there. And during this time also, because this period of time between 2018 and 2020, they said with plague, they said that those witnesses will spread plagues. Now they're trying to figure out origin of this COVID-19. But Angel says, right, they had something to do with it, so I'm gonna go with the Angel. But anyway, that would happen during this period of time. You see. So, and then it talks about, this chapter 11 stuff, so I'm not gonna get too much detail in it. But if you count down here, 1 down through the 10, see? So it said at the 10th city fell. Because this is the war. The war is about to happen. This is where we are right now. We got the plague. We got Iran and Syria, right, pushing hard against America and Britain. They try to make all the stuff going on over there. They just had a war. All the pressure tensions going over there. So they're going to have this final war. So I just want to point this, right? So you count this down, you get 9, 10. That's important. See? So here we go right here. 1940 to 1990, we're breaking this down a little more detail. 1948, 1990, that would be the witnesses were prophesied for 42 years, right? 1990, that's when seals will be broken, right? They will be on, see right here, they in their position right here, they're in mid-heaven. They haven't been cast down yet. America's about to invade. Then they invade. Mr. Bush, right? Let me move things around a little bit here. Let me move things around a little bit here so you can see this clearly. I'm over here. So this the invade. Now it's a little curious that I'm going to say here. When you read the story about Abraham take Isaac, see, soon they trained them. They said, well, Ishmael's the one. But Abraham sacrificed his son Isaac. That's us. We was in slavery. He was bound him and was taken to sacrifice. He was about to be killed. So he took him this mountain, this hill, to his death, sacrifice him. He was told to do that. That's us, right? So he got to the top there. So he put him down on the altar, and he's about to, he's got a knife, and he's bringing a knife down, I don't know if you can see this, right? Bringing the knife down, just like, bam, to stab him right in his heart. And just as he's about to, boom, Farad catches his arm, stop him, just as he's about to pierce his heart. See, that's what happened to us, because that's what's going to go down, because they can ready to attack us. See, but Farad's going to save us just in the nick of time. Those whose names in the Lamb's Book of Life. The rest going to have to go through tribulation. But the thing I want to point out here is that it says, okay, we're not going to kill eyes, but we're going to kill that ram. See, there's a ram over there. See, and his huge horns are stuck in the bushes. Some say thicker, thicket or whatever, bushes, but it's bushes. His horns too stuck in the bushes, right? So, I mean, you can't make this up, brother. The scriptures are beautiful. So when you understand Dan, you know that two horns represent Barak and Britain. See? And so, and the ram itself represents false Israel, but two horns represent Barak and Britain. So it says it was stuck in the bushes. Now, they're stuck in the Middle East right now, aren't they? That's where everybody's stuck over the Middle East. America, Britain, stuck in the Middle East. They all stuck up in the Middle East. What's going on right now? Everything's all wrapped around there, right? But how did they get stuck? How did they get stuck in the Middle East? By the two bushes. Baby Bush and Daddy Bush. You can't make this up, brothers and sisters. Daddy Bush put him in 1990. 2003, Baby Bush took him over there in the Second Gulf War. That's how they got trapped up in the bushes. By the bushes. Okay, brothers, I thought I'd just lay that on you. So here we go here. This is 2015, right? So now they're moving up. No, excuse me. This is, they pushed down here in this position, right? To 2015. That's when the JCPO agreement was made. See? And that was made, that put them under the foot of the nations for 42 months, for 3.5 years. See, this is what the sequence in chapter 11. Because remember, we talked about the last part of chapter 20 when they come to the end, because they surrounded the Middle East. Remember, they surrounded the holy city. We're just talking about chapter 20. So for 42 months, 3.5 years. So they'd be under UN control for 3.5 years until Mr. Trump broke the agreement. That's JCPOA. There it is, brother. So I'm just pointing out to you. Okay, here we go. Oops. Oops. Okay, here we go. And so now he broke it. So now war is on the horizon. See, the tensions between the Middle East is growing. See, and so that would lead to the war that's about to break out. The war has already started, but it's 3 phases. If you read chapter the 6th seal, it was 3 phases. First, right? The first war from it was a lull before the storm. From November, I told you, from November, I told you way before time. I'm going to tell you afterwards, like Farrakhan did. I said, it'll be a lull for 6 months, and then the war will start. That happened from November. It happened in May. Bam, just like right on time, right? Then it would say, right? Then the conflict, the demon's going to be dispatched. Farrakhan, they're about to go. Okay? And by the same time, the war's going to kick off. This war will kick off any day in the Middle East. Something right here. But it says, and the 10th city fell. See, this 10th affiliate, this we're talking about in chapter 18, where Gog and Magog and Satan fell. That's what the 10th city fell. That means that's what Babylon's falling. See? That's what we're talking about. The 10th city fell in that hour. See? That's when the war starts. Because America, false Israel, and Britain was going to be defeated. And false Israel will be no more. See? Law before the storm. See? So we are right now. Babylon's about to be, the potential city's going to fall. This is all, is where we are right now. See? There you go. See, that's where they fall. Tent City fell in that hour. That means between November 2020 to November 2021. First 6 months, be silenced, the law. From November to May. Then the war would start. Tension would increase. And finally, the main trigger, because the war with Iran, that's the main trigger. That's the trigger that really ignites Armageddon. That's what all the scriptures tell you, even the Quran. You understand it. Shock of the hour. We said it was Tennessee, because it's not there anymore. 10th city is not there. Remember, you go down to 10th, now you only got 11 here. You only got 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That would mean 10th city fell. Gog and Magog is cast down, falls Israel is no more. Iran has total control of the Middle East. So let's talk about. That says their fire came out of heaven, and then that would be destroyed. Gog and Magog is destroyed. See? So now they're at war. They're at war at this point. See, America's at war with Russia and the EU. EU has turned on America. They blame America for their economy collapsing, like in chapter 18. Why it collapsed? Because Iran, whose oil, the oil in the Middle East it was totally dependent upon, now Iran and Syria has total control of the Middle East, Mecca, Medina, all of it, all the oil and everything else. They shut them off. So the economy's collapsed overnight. That's what chapter 18, economy collapsed. So now Europe blames America for that. So now America's at war with both of them. They're also at war with China and North Korea. Okay. And at the same time, that's when they attack us. That's when they attack us. Let me show, go back. I didn't say that. Make sure you got that one. See, when they're here, remember we was here. Let me back up again. Right here. See, we was here, Levi, demons. That's all black. These are Christian blacks down here, the demons. This is the Nation of Islam, the Levites, right? So when they take the war starts, first thing they do, attack us. So United Covenant, they attack us. That goes over 5 months. That's the locust plague, where the Christian blacks are going to be tearing this country apart. That story about Samson, right? Then we're delivered. It's a tribulation. Demons are separated, they're cast out. Second Mark says they wanted to go back to their devil daddies, so they allowed to go back to their devil daddies. We're delivered, right? Because we would not let the demon-possessed man go with us. So you got to stay back and witness. They got to go back and stay with all those black folks that wasn't in the Lamb's Book of Life that they should have been witnessing to. They didn't, because they were deceived by Farrakhan for 40 some years. They're supposed to build a bridge between Elijah and Suleiman. Instead, they built mansions for Farrakhan. So they was told they had to stay back and witness. So Jesus left, with his elect, they left, but they had to stay back and witness. And demons were thrown back, right, to their devil daddies. There's a story right there, brothers and sisters. So I think that's pretty much it. Oh, and this is the ark they talk about. The last thing Elijah Muhammad says, remember the story of Joseph, he's given a coat of many colors. That's the coat right there. Many colors. So it's separated. That's why I said heaven was separated. We're talking about. We detached. So the whole world is under war now, except for us. We're home and safe right? But as soon as Levites, they're part of the tribulation. Because see, the ark is resting on water. There's 9 parts of the ark. But the Sunnis, they also represent water. And Levites, so they're still in tribulation. They're part of the waters. Anyway, it's because the ark was resting on water. So they wasn't in the ark. They were still in tribulation, right? If they was in the waters, they was part of tribulation. Because was what tribulation was, right? That's what flood was. You understand? So they wasn't in, the ark was floating on them. See? This is here, this is not our vision, but this is all the stuff that they built. It says we go by home, say we go to homes we have not built, all that stuff they building over there and everything, right? When war breaks out, Farah's going to knock them out of the Middle East, at least knock all the authorities, but we got to fight, take that land back, because our land, they're going to fight us. That's why Joshua had to go to war. Suleiman's going to lead us in war to take out. See, Farah's okay, he'll take us back there, now we got to fight to get it back. See? But all those beautiful houses and everything they built, that's when we're going to have those. See? Until we start and bring in our new creation. We're going to blow away all that sand. See? But that won't happen until after the War of Armageddon is completely finished. See? Now that's the flood they're talking about. It's a flood of humanity, not a flood of water. Because remember, death also represents the sea. Hades also represents the rivers. You understand the angel? So they're going to attack America and Europe and just wipe them out. That's the flood. So the flood will cover the entire earth. See, and Obama's going to be with them. See, you got the dragon. That's the house of Sod. That's the dragon. That's the beast down here, which got the face of a Buddhist, and that's the other beast. See, one beast has 7 heads and 10 horns, right? With crowns upon his horns. One beast has 7 heads, 10 horns, but no crowns upon his horn, because he would be with the beast that had the crown, 7 heads and 10 horns, and crowns upon his horn. Then you had the dragon who has 7 heads, 10 horns, and his crowns upon his heads, because he represented the power of the Europeans, because he was fueling them. Remember, they got their power because the fuel that he was fueling them, because they had more energy, has more power. So they was giving them cheap oil, and that's how America became so powerful militarily, because they was getting cheap oil, cheaper than everybody else. You have any idea how much it costs for gas in Europe right now? That's the end of Gog and Magog, the flood. There it is. That's the end, brothers and sisters. That's chapter 20. Also, it's part of the series, right, of breaking the dumb barrier. Because nobody knows who Gog and Magog is. So now you know. So I put the two together. Okay, brothers, I hope you understand. We're going to stop it here. Right. Remember, brothers and sisters out there, you out here teaching your children Christianity and everything, you are the reason why they're dumb. Because you teach them not to think. That's their first lesson from you. Do not think. You better not think. You better not question. You better not use reason logic, because you can't use it in reason and logic with Christianity. You can't. Now, call me like, show me where you can use reason and logic. You can't, because you're supposed to just believe. Just believe. See? Believe the story about immaculate conception, all that stuff. Just believe it. You can't prove any of it. Assalamu alaikum.